In the middle of a busy city, there was a very big church called Holy Fire Assembly. Everyone in the city knew this church. The building was tall, painted white, and had shining golden doors. Darkness disappeared after pastor prayed for me. Another would say, my family became rich after joining this church. The church kept growing, and Pastor Daniel and Mother Grace became more and more powerful. But what nobody knew was that Pastor Daniel and his wife were hiding a dark secret. Behind their smiles and fiery prayers, they were doing very wicked things. Late at night, when everyone was asleep, Pastor Daniel and his wife would go into a secret room under the church. This room was not known to anybody else. It was built under the altar. From outside, it looked like the floor was normal, but there was a hidden door that led down to the underground place.
Inside that room, there were strange drawings on the floor, candles that burned with black smoke, and a big black cross in the middle. That was where they performed their evil sacrifices. They had made a covenant with powers of darkness. They killed people and offered their blood in exchange for more power, more members, and more money. They did not kill rich or important people because someone would come looking for them. Instead, they targeted those who were weak and voiceless. They chose poor people, widows, orphans, and new visitors who came to church for help. Once those people disappeared, nobody asked questions. After every sacrifice, Pastor Daniel's sermons became more powerful, and more people joined the church. On Sunday morning, he would stand and shout, "The Lord has added to his church daily," and the congregation would clap without knowing it was innocent blood that brought the growth. Among the workers in the church was a young lady named Sarah Oladili. She was only 24 years old. Sarah was very humble and quiet. She worked as an usher, welcoming people into the church and showing them where to sit. She respected Pastor Daniel with all her heart. She believed he was truly a servant of God. She never doubted him, and she often prayed that one day she would be as strong in faith as he was. But one night, something happened that changed everything. After a Wednesday service, Sarah stayed behind to clean the church. She thought everyone had gone home. The hall was quiet, and she was sweeping near the altar. Suddenly, she heard voices. At first, she thought Pastor Daniel was praying in his office, but the sound was coming from under the altar. She bent her head, listening more carefully, and realized the voices were not prayers. They were strange, harsh, and frightening. She moved closer, her broom shaking in her hand. Then she heard Pastor Daniel's deep voice clearly say, "Tomorrow night, the boy will be ready. His blood will bring us more power, more members, and more money." Sarah's eyes grew wide. She wanted to believe she was imagining it. Then she heard Mother Grace reply coldly, "Yes, nobody will miss him. After all, he has no family here."
Suddenly, there was a loud scream from below, the sound of someone begging and crying, and then silence. Sarah dropped her broom. Her heart was beating so fast she thought it would burst. She whispered to herself, "Did I really hear that? Could Pastor Daniel and Mama Fire be killing people?" Her legs were weak. She quickly picked up her things and ran out of the church. That night, Sarah could not sleep. She tossed on her bed, sweating. She thought of the testimonies she had heard in church. Businessmen suddenly becoming rich, women getting pregnant after many years, students passing exams without studying. Now she realized these so-called blessings were bought with blood. She asked herself, who can I tell? If I tell the members, they will say I am lying. If I tell the police, Pastor will bribe them. He is too powerful. She began to cry, whispering, "Oh God, what should I do?" The next day, Sarah still went to church, but she avoided looking at Pastor Daniel. When he smiled at her, she felt cold inside. She knew she had to do something, but she was afraid. After days of thinking, she decided she needed proof. Without proof, no one would believe her. So one night, she carried a small recorder in her bag and hid inside the church after everyone left. She waited, her heart pounding. Around midnight, she heard footsteps and then the voices again. She quietly pressed record. This time, she captured everything. Pastor Daniel's voice saying, "Blood for power, life for life." Mother Grace chanting strange words. Then the sound of someone crying and begging, "Please, don't kill me," followed by silence. Sarah held her breath so she wouldn't scream. She had evidence now. But as she tiptoed out of the church, her phone vibrated loudly in her bag. The buzzing sound echoed in the quiet hall. A heavy voice shouted from underground, "Who is there?" Sarah's whole body froze. She dropped her bag and ran as fast as she could. She heard quick footsteps rushing up the hidden stairs. She pushed the door open and ran into the street, her slippers almost falling off. She didn't stop running until she reached her small house. She locked the door and fell on the floor, panting. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from an unknown number. The message read, "We know you heard us. You cannot escape. You belong to us now." Sarah screamed and threw the phone away. From that night, strange things started happening to her. She would hear whispers in her room even when she was alone. Sometimes she felt invisible hands pressing on her chest while she slept. One night, she saw a dark shadow standing in the corner of her room, watching her. She prayed loudly until it disappeared. She knew Pastor Daniel and Mother Grace were using their dark powers to scare her into silence. But Sarah refused to give up. She began to fast and pray every day. She also went to meet some true Christians outside the church and told them everything. They prayed with her and encouraged her not to be afraid. They said, "God will fight for you, but you must expose the truth." Finally, Sarah took the recorder to a Christian journalist known for exposing fake pastors. At first, he did not believe her. He said, "Young lady, do you know what you are saying? Pastor Daniel is respected all over this city." But when he played the tape, his eyes grew wide. His hands shook. He whispered, "This is real. This is very big." The journalist began to investigate secretly. He discovered that many people had gone missing around the church. He spoke to families who lost loved ones, and he found out that the underground room truly existed. He gathered everything. One Sunday morning, while Pastor Daniel was preaching loudly and the choir was singing, the journalists came with police officers and reporters. They stormed into the church with cameras and microphones. The congregation was shocked. The police went straight to the altar and opened the hidden door and dragged out the evidence, the underground chamber, the bloodstains, the strange objects. The whole church gasped. Some people screamed. Pastor Daniel and Mother Grace were arrested immediately. They struggled, shouting, "This is a lie. This is an attack of the devil." But the evidence was too clear. Reporters took pictures and videos. The news spread everywhere. Some church members cried, "No, our pastor is innocent." Others covered their faces in shame, realizing that the miracles they enjoyed were bought with blood. The once powerful Holy Fire Assembly was closed forever. Sarah was still afraid, but she was also relieved. She had saved many lives. She knew God had used her bravery to uncover the truth. She decided to spend her life warning people, telling them, "Not every church that looks holy is from God. Pray and ask God for direction. Some pastors wear white clothes, but inside they are black." And so, the story of Holy Fire Assembly became a lesson for the whole city. People learned that not all that shines is light. Sometimes, the brightest smile hides the darkest secret.